everybody? Welcome back to The Private Record. We got another episode for you. It is another wild episode. This story, honestly, has stuck with me since I talked to our guest. Her name is Tess. She's a very beautiful person, a very sweet person, a very kind person, and she was terrorized, unexpectedly, actually. She tells it better than I do, so I'll let her do that. But just to sort of set it up, to tee it up for all of you, when she was in her 30s, she actually realized sort of suddenly that she was actually gay. She had been, or thought she had been straight her whole life. She started seeing a trainer at the gym and realized, I'm actually attracted to you. And you're a woman, not a guy. And this sort of created this upheaval in her life where all things were suddenly very new. And in her new community of now that she was out of the closet, she met, or should I say, reconnected with someone she knew when she was a lot younger, who ended up turning out to not let's say she was more of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Turned out to be a motherfucking crazy person and made Tess's life an absolute living hell. I'll spare you the details now because Tess gives them to you better than I possibly could. But this story truly rocked my world. It rocked my world, and now it's going to rock your world. If you want to be a guest on The Private Record, go to theprivaterecord.com and submit yourself to be on the show. We're looking forward to hearing from you. Some of the submissions recently have been gonzo crazy, bing bong bonkers, and I can't wait to get all of you on the show. If you haven't heard back from us, it's because we're kind of backed up, but you're going to hear from us. Keep them coming. We love hearing from you. We love having you on. We can't wait for more ordinary people telling their most extraordinary stories. That's what this show is all about. Can't wait to do more. Obviously, follow us on all socials at The Private Record, TikTok, Instagram, all that. And please, oh please, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Private Record and like the video and comment on the video and share it with your friends. Share it with all your friends. Share it with your dad, your mom, even if you hate them, even if they're dead. Share it with them anyway. It can't hurt. It can't hurt. Beyond the grave, let them know. Let them know. Ghosts are real, okay? And they can spread the word as well. Get the word out there, okay? I want to do this forever, as I always say, and to be able to do that, I need you to help blast it out there so everyone in the world, eventually our goal is to have every single person in the world listen to this show. It's a lofty goal, but we're gonna accomplish it. We're very ambitious over here at The Private Record. All right, that's enough out of me. Here is Tess with a crazy story. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tess. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. I love each and every one of you. Yes, even you. I'll see you soon. Welcome, Tess, to The Private Record. I'm very excited to speak with you. Thank you for being here. Why don't you introduce yourself and give us the headline of the story or the genre or whatever, however you would encapsulate it for someone you're about to tell.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. Hi, I'm Tess. I live in Connecticut, and I'm a real estate agent. And then I also do virtual assistant type stuff on the side. I live with my girlfriend in our house, and we have 2 cats, and we live a pretty normal life.
Except for the story you're about to tell. Yeah, exactly.
Except for the story, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The story is, I guess, what I would call just dealing with an absolute crazy person, and falling into dipping your toe into a community that you haven't been a part of for your life, and then realizing that you can't trust everyone in that community, I guess.
For sure.
Is what it all comes down to.
All right. Well, let's get in. I'm excited. I know a little bit about it. I can't wait to know everything about it. So let's go. Start wherever you want, however far back you want. Totally up to you.
Okay. So I'll start 2-ish years ago.
Okay.
I'm 36 at the time, and I'm living with my now ex-roommate, who I had been living with for 15 years. We were super close and really good friends. And I'm living with her, and I start kind of falling for my trainer at the gym, who happens to be a female.
Mm.
And through my entire life, I've only been dating and been with guys, so this was kind of a new thing for me. And though now looking back on it, there were many signs that I should have picked up on years and years ago, but
Sure. But
that's
you
a whole other
just
story.
so for clarity though, you up until this point hadn't even considered in your own mind that you might be gay. It was just you
Yeah.
dated guys and that was it. That was your life. That's how you were. And
Yep,
then you
exactly.
meet this
I
trainer,
never thought about it.
and then this trainer starts to open your mind, and then you start to consider, okay, cool. Wow. Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So at the time that I first met my trainer, she was in another relationship with a really great girl.
Mm.
And it was more just like a crush from afar kind
Right,
of
right,
thing.
right.
Um, and then because I was feeling the way I was feeling, I decided that I would kind of try to. I had been on the apps, like I was single at the time,
Mm.
so I had been on the apps for like a really long time, and I kind of just decided at that point that I would switch, add females to my apps as an
Mm-hmm.
option to kind of
Mm-hmm.
explore
Yeah.
that side. Um, and I also joined a Connecticut like lesbian singles type of Facebook group to kind of
Mm.
just see what the scene was,
Yeah.
basically. Um, and I had been a part of that group for many months, before I ended up deciding to be brave enough to actually post something on it.
Mm.
And they were doing like a, introduce yourself type of thing where, a bunch of people just post pictures and just say, "Hey, this is who I am, this is where I am, and, if you want to hang out or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
So I finally got up the courage to post a picture and just kind of an intro, like, "Hey, this is who I am. I'm new to the community, looking for friends, possibly more. Would love to connect with people."
Mm-hmm.
And I had gotten a lot of DMs and talked to some people and kind of made a couple friends, just very casually. But then shortly after I put that picture up, I got a DM from someone I had already known.
Okay.
I'm gonna call her Laura.
Okay.
That's not her real name, but I'm gonna call her Laura. So Laura DM'd me and basically just said, "Hey, how are you? I see that you posted this. How's it going?" And I knew her because we went to middle school and high school together.
Oh, so this is someone you
Um,
knew long time ago, at least.
long
Yeah.
time ago, yeah. And she had been out when we were in school, or at
Oh,
least,
wow.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't really know for sure, but she was. It was pretty obvious, and
Right.
post high school, she was definitely out. So
Right.
she'd been out for many, many years.
Got it.
Um, And we were friendly in high school, but we were in band and ski club, like real cool stuff together, but not anything where we didn't hang out with the same friends or
Mhm.
have the same, circle or anything like that. So
Mhm.
we knew each other, but we definitely weren't
Mhm.
friendly. So she DM'd me and we just started talking, and my mind was, "Oh, cool. I already know this person. It's less scary for me to meet like a total stranger.
Mhm.
And here's someone I can talk to about this found situation that I'm in with my sexuality."
Yeah.
So it
If
was like a
nothing else,
perfect.
someone with experience, someone who might
Yeah.
give pointer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally makes
Yeah, and I
sense.
thought it would be really great, and
Yeah.
it felt safe, it felt good,
Mhm.
so we talked for a little while, and then we decided we would meet up for drinks, like, after work one day. We met up for drinks and, totally normal, regular interaction. At no point was the word date ever mentioned, so,
Mm.
like, I'm just going there assuming that I'm meeting up with a friend for a drink, like
Mhm.
I would any of my other friends. Um, we go to this bar, we sit, we talk, we reminisce about people we know from high school, like,
Right.
what people have been up to kind of thing. Um, I told her about, like, some of the people that I dated post high school that
Mm.
were from our high school, things like that.
Mhm.
And it was totally normal. We had a really good time and decided that we would hang out again the next time. Like, it was great. So something to note too is that
Mhm.
at the time that I had finally met up with her, I mentioned my ex roommate. We
Mhm.
had this like major falling out,
Mm.
and I moved out of the house and got my own apartment. And so right when I had met up with Laura, I had really been going through it like mentally
Yeah.
and kind of refiguring out. I'm figuring out my sexuality. I'm figuring
Yeah.
out my entire friend group. I'm figuring out like what my life is like after having moved out of this house that I've shared with someone for 15 years. It was a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're living
so
alone now, right? It's just you.
I'm living alone.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Okay.
me. At the time, right, a little bit before that, the trainer had broke up with her girlfriend,
Mm.
and we were kind of talking, flirting, not really seeing each other yet, but
Hmm.
on the way there, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so when I met Laura, I told her all about um the trainer and
Hmm.
things that were going on and what was happening with me being newly on my own kind of thing, but then also navigating being attracted to her, to my trainer and all those kinds of
Yeah.
things. So it was just a weird time.
And just to
Um,
be clear though, when like there's no you said it was totally normal, date was never mentioned. Laura never gave at this time gave you any kind of vibe that she was okay. So everything's totally
no,
above board. It seems totally normal.
totally normal, totally platonic. I'm not good at picking up when people are flirting with me
Mm.
anyway,
Mm.
but so she could have been at the
Right,
time,
right, right,
but if I look back at it, I don't think she was. I think it was
right.
just very friendly and totally
Got it.
normal.
Okay, cool.
Um, so we had the drinks, it was fine. We agreed that we would hang out again another
Mhm.
time. And over the course of like a year, I would say, maybe a little bit less than a year, um, we hung out probably a total of like 10 times throughout the whole year.
Okay.
If it was once a month, maybe I could be overestimating that amount.
Mhm.
Because I'm busy, I'm figuring out things with this girl that I'm seeing, I'm working, I'm doing all these things. So, we hang out the 10 times. Well, when we hang out, we either are going to a bar for food and drinks.
Mhm.
I met up with her and her other gay friends, a time at a happy hour and met
Mm.
them, talked to them. Um, we'd go to her apartment, we'd smoke, and
Mhm.
then we would just sit and talk, and she showed me pictures of, like, pictures she had from people we knew from high school,
Mm.
things like that.
Mhm.
Stupid stuff, reminisce
Yeah,
about
yeah.
stuff.
Right.
Um, watch YouTube videos, like,
Mhm.
whatever. So it wasn't anything, it was all totally normal, and again, every time I hung out with her, I talked a lot about the
Mhm.
girl that I was seeing,
Right. And
and
this is the trainer that you had first developed a crush on? The
yeah,
same woman?
yep,
Okay,
yep.
yeah, okay.
Yes, yeah, same person, same, we started dating, that's kind of a side story. So we started dating, and, w she had been she's been always in a relationship, right?
Mm.
She's been back-to-back relationships her entire life. So when she broke up with the last girlfriend, she really wanted to make it a point to kind of not jump into the next relationship,
Totally.
and not only date other people, but kind of date herself and figure out
Mhm.
like what she was doing. So
Right.
we were dating, and she was also seeing other people,
Okay,
but
okay.
it was very like we talked about it all the time. It was super communicative. I hated it because I wanted to be
Sure, yeah.
exclusive,
Right, right, right.
but it was totally it was above board, and it
Yeah.
was fine. Like it was,
Mhm.
and it made sense to me because I understood where she was. I was also in a very weird place as it was
Mhm.
myself. So like it made sense that she wanted to hold off. In the meantime, we're hanging out all the time though, and doing everything that, kind of a normal
Right,
couple would be doing.
right.
Um, and I'm telling all of my woes about not dating, not exclusive being able to date my girlfriend
Mhm.
to Laura, and she's giving me advice about, what I should do and not, is mostly giving me advice on not U-hauling, which is a lesbian
Mhm.
term,
Right.
meaning that you just fall in with someone and then you just immediately move in with them. So,
Isn't there some famous
um,
tell me if I'm wrong, but isn't there some famous joke about lesbians about like this what is that?
if it's U-hauling, that's what it's called really, that
And it
it's
means
just
you develop a relationship
you
so
move
quickly, you
in.
move right in. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's pretty common for lesbians to, like, go on a date on Monday and then move in by Friday kinda thing. So,
Okay.
like, it's
Okay.
a pretty normal thing.
Right.
Um, And so she was kind of warning me against that because she had a lot of relationships in her past that kind
Mm,
of went sour because of that.
got it.
And so I'm telling her everything that is going on in my relationship. She's telling me everything about all of the things that are going on in her relationship. She's on the apps and she's dating people, and it seems like she's dating a lot of people. Like,
Hmm.
I'll talk to her one week, she's seeing someone, a couple weeks will go by, something crazy will happen between the two of them, and then they'll break up and she'll swear off dating until she swipes right on the next person, and like
Hmm.
the cycle starts all over again.
Hmm.
So during the time that we were hanging out throughout the course of this year, she had been kind of showing me a lot of red flags that
Okay.
I, at the time, I'm the kind of person that would I give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm
Hmm.
always just assuming that, people are having an off day or they're going through something. You just don't know what people are going through. So
Hmm.
it's easier for me to assume that that person is having a tough time and just needs a little bit to get their shit together kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, so she would tell me a lot of stories about the girls that she was seeing and how crazy they were ending,
Mm.
to the point where the cops got involved with a lot of the things that she was telling me about.
With
Like every
different women.
time with
Like,
different women.
oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had a lot of
Yeah.
stories about how the cops had to be called. And
Mm.
I should have used that as a as a really bright red flag, but for some reason I saw pink and I was like, That's no big deal. It's fine.
So
Cops get called all the time."
how many times are we talking about? Like, if you in ballpark, like we're talking about like 3 or 4 different scenarios
3 or 4
where,
times.
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
3 or 4 times. And a lot, it's things where, for instance, there was one girl that she was dating that was a nurse, and she used to smoke weed with that girl, and she would
Mhm.
threat after they broke up, she told me that she was gonna call the hospital that this nurse worked at to, like, rat her out for smoking weed.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
the
get
things
it.
that are like, I'm like, "I'm not making a phone call to a ho," like, what do
Yeah.
you ask for when you call for that kind of thing? Like,
Right, right, right. Yeah,
that's a weird thing to do, but,
it's the kind of thing where
um
it's almost like the main reason people like us don't think to do that is because it's like more shit to do. Like, it's not
yeah,
even
but, like,
about like anything else. It's just like, why would I add more shit to my plate? Like, that's just
you're
so,
giving
yeah.
yourself administrative task, like,
Yeah.
admin tasks. Why do you
Yeah.
wanna do that?
Why?
Nobody wants to do
Exactly.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally. Yeah.
So that was weird in itself,
Totally. Yeah.
and she had told me kind of casually, and at the time, I didn't really put it in my pocket like I should have,
Mm.
that a previous ex of hers had a restraining order out against her,
Okay.
and saying it out loud, what an idiot, but, like, I
I
should have
do
thought
get it
about that,
though.
but
I mean, I do get it because there's also this element of like, you're not romantically involved with this woman. Like, I
totally.
have friends, I have guy friends who are like, they seem in stories about other aspects of their life, whether it be work or relationship, intimate relationships, they seem crazy or stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with me. So I just listen to the story and I'm like, wow, you're a fucking idiot or whatever.
Yeah.
And like and
Yeah.
it will never affect me. But like, so there's an element of that too. So it's not, I get what you're saying. You should have seen the red flags, and I totally understand what you're saying. But at the same time, it totally makes sense that you didn't, because you're not thinking. It's not a you centric thing. It doesn't have to do
Mm-mm.
with you. So whatever this person's crazy stuff is with their relationship has nothing to do with you. You know. So
Right,
that makes
right. Well,
sense.
and
Yeah.
also in my mind, this is a new friend.
Hmm.
Though I did know her in high school, my life is very separate from this person. She doesn't know
Right.
a lot of details about me.
Right.
I
Right.
think she thought she did know them simply because she knew me as a kid, but like
Right.
12-year-old me was not
No. Yeah.
36-year-old me. So like I
Right.
don't, it's not the same. So
Totally.
it was easy for me to kind of just take the information she was giving me and just kind of toss it aside as
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
a, okay, this is, something is someone else is telling me, but it doesn't have anything to do with me. So
Totally. Yeah.
when these pink flags started popping up,
Hmm.
she was texting me all the time, all the
Hmm.
time. And not just like, 1 or 2 texts of, small items. It was paragraphs and paragraphs of huge things of just like brain dumps that she would just, have an
Mm.
idea and then just text me a whole big brain dump of stuff, to the
Huh.
point that I had to put her on mute on my phone because I was like,
Right.
I can't keep getting all these phone messages all the time. And as it is, I'm I don't really text. I like to text, but like I'm not getting into a
Yeah.
hours long conversation. Like text me, I'll
Totally.
text you back, and then I'm done with this
Totally.
conversation.
Everybody has that
So
one friend that's like, I put you on mute. And I haven't told you, but
yes,
you're on mute because you just dump all over me all the time. And I don't, it's
yeah,
anxiety inducing when you're like doing something, it's 2 p.m. and you're in the middle of something and someone's sending you all this shit. You're just like, mute immediately. Do not
that's
disturb.
exactly
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do not disturb. And I was honest with her, and I told her
Mm.
that you're on mute. Feel free to text me as much as you want. So, because you're not going to bother me, you're on mute,
Right.
but
Right. Yeah.
don't
Totally.
expect the same amount of
Yeah.
text that you're giving to me. That's just not going to happen. I'll read the text, I'll respond to the one I want, and
Yeah.
then I'll move on.
Mm.
So, and she seemed to be fine with that. Because I had dealt with that whole thing with my ex roommate, I've been going to therapy and like kind of learning how to set boundaries with
Mm.
people. And I felt that with this new friendship, I had set some pretty good boundaries in the beginning of the relationship. So much so that I told my therapist, like, I feel good about this friendship. I've set these
Mm.
boundaries. I feel good about this kind of thing. Um, I guess I didn't, but
No, but it sounds like you
we'll
did. I
get
mean,
there.
whether you set them or not, if somebody crosses those boundaries, that's not on you. You know what I mean? You
Right,
set
right.
them with the expectation that people will abide by them, but not
Yeah,
everybody does, as we are soon
yeah.
to learn, I think. Yes.
Yes, yes. So at this point, it's been like almost a year in my apartment. I've been dating this girl. We
Hmm.
did make it exclusive. Both of our leases were going to be coming up, and though it was really technically only like 6 months until
Hmm.
into our
Hmm.
exclusiveness, we had been seeing each other for like 2 years at this point.
Okay.
Um,
That's a long time.
so
Yeah.
it's a long time,
Yeah.
and she needed to get out of her apartment. I My lease was ending, so we just decided we were gonna buy a house because we didn't want to live in a apartment building anymore,
Hmm.
and we started looking for houses at the time.
Cool.
Um, it took forever because the housing market in Connecticut is crazy.
Mm.
And we finally ended up finding a spot, and we were scheduled to close on the house in the beginning of February last year.
Okay.
Um, it was February 8th was going to be our closing date. And we did everything that we needed to do. I'm, again, not the kind of person that shares a million things with people.
Hmm.
And especially if it's not 100% certain. So
Yeah, I'm
like
the same way. Yeah.
I told a lot of people that we were moving into this house once for sure we had a
Yeah.
closing date set.
Right. Right. Right.
So it wasn't not only her that I didn't tell right away, but it was like most of the people in my life didn't know.
Hmm.
My parents
Hmm.
knew, but besides that, there really wasn't anybody that knew. So about a couple weeks before we were gonna close, I was like, I should tell Laura that we're moving in together.
Mm.
So we had plans to meet up after work and get drinks and dinner. And she we talked about it, and I told her, hey, me and Kelsey are moving in together, and we bought a house and we're super excited about it. And she seemed really supportive of it. Like she
Mm.
was very much, happy, good for you guys. Like this is gonna be great, whatever.
Right.
And I left that meeting feeling very positive about the reaction I got.
Right. And just a quick
Only
question,
because I
did your girlfriend know about, obviously she knew about Laura, but did she think anything weird about Laura, or to your girlfriend, was Laura just one of your friends?
She was just one of my friends.
Okay.
She had met Laura a couple
Okay.
times. And she had my girlfriend is super good at picking up
Mm.
on people's personalities. And I really should have just listened to her in the beginning, because she kind of said when she first met her that like, oh, she seems kind of crazy, but
For some reason,
she
I
was
had a sense
supportive.
that that might
Yeah.
be the case, because that is often the
Yeah.
case where your partner's like, "I fucking told you so," but you
Yeah.
didn't, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She did get to say I told you so a lot of times, but
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, she totally spotted it well ahead of
Mm.
time. But she had met Laura several times, and
Mm-hmm.
it was fine between the two of
Right.
them.
Okay. Yeah.
It was fine for me to hang out with Laura. My girlfriend like works kind of late, so I often have a lot of time after work between the
Mm.
time that she gets out of work and then I get out of work, that where I have like a couple hours where I can meet up with people. So it was like an easy
Mm.
time to be
Got
meeting
it.
up with a
Cool. Yeah.
friend, basically. Um, so I tell Laura that we're going to be moving in together. She seems great. I move on from that. Like a couple weeks go by, maybe 2 weeks, and it's like the weekend before we're going to move in together. And it's close to Valentine's Day. So we're going to go out and have like a Valentine's Day dinner and um, kind of celebrate that we're going to close on the house
Mm.
next week. And the restaurant that we wanted to go to was really busy that night. And there were no close by parking spaces. So I had to drop my girlfriend off at the restaurant to get a seat. And then I had to go drive around and look for a
Mm-hmm.
parking space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I drove a bit of ways away. And when I finally found a spot, I picked up my phone to text my girlfriend to say, hey, I've got a little bit of a walk. I'll be there
Mm.
shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I noticed that I had a really, really long text message from Laura,
Mm-hmm.
and that part doesn't phase me because
Right.
that's kind of her MO. But the text basically said that it's stupid of me to be moving in this early, that I'm making a huge mistake.
Mm.
Um, and just that I don't know myself enough to make this kind of decision. And she's just looking out for me as a friend. No, none of my other friends are brave enough to say what
Hmm.
she's saying, and all this stuff. And it
Mm-hmm.
pissed me off. It was way crossing boundaries. It was
Yeah.
way over the top of a friend, not the kind of text a friend should be sending to someone. Like, if that's your opinion, great, fine, but
Right.
it's not my business.
Yeah, you
My
didn't
business is
ask.
not.
You didn't
No,
solicit that advice
no,
or even how she felt. Like that's so
no.
annoying. Yeah, I
It
hate
was,
that
yeah,
shit. Yeah.
and it just pissed me off to the point where I was like, "You know what? F you, I'm blocking you and whatever." So,
Okay.
while I'm walking to the restaurant, I blocked her phone number and I blocked her on all social media.
Ah.
Um, I get to the restaurant, I tell my girlfriend about it, and we're just sitting there talking about it, and she's like, "Don't let it get to you."
Yeah.
I told you she was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's just have, a good night, maybe just leave her blocked for tonight. And
Yeah.
then tomorrow, once, you're a little bit less pissed off, you can send her a message just to
Sure.
say, hey, s- you know, no. Um,
Right. Right. Right.
I should have mentioned too, before all of that, because of the red flags that she had been expressing to me, I kind of decided that I would like step back from her a little bit. So I kind
Ah.
of stopped. I avoided hanging out with her. Like, she would invite me to go places and I would tell her I was busy, couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm. And for how long
And
before this Valentine's closing on house moment? How long?
like, 2 months, I would say.
Okay. So in the recent history had been you're kind of avoiding her and
Yeah.
distancing yourself in general. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Though I don't know that she picked up on that because she
Right.
still texted me as much as she texted me.
Probably not, but you're
Yeah.
doing that and making a conscious effort to do so. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. So we decide at that time that like forget it for now, just let it go. In the morning, if I feel like it, I'll text her back and just say, "Hey, this isn't cool. You're crossing my
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. I don't really think we should be friends anymore,"
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point I was like, "All right, this is like the last straw," kind of thing.
Right.
Um, so we have dinner, we enjoy it, we go back home or go back to my apartment because at this time I'm still in my apartment, she's still in hers. We're
Mm-hmm.
just about to move. And she falls asleep on the couch. I'm watching Netflix and it's like 11 o'clock and I start getting all these text messages
Mm.
from an unknown number.
Uh-oh.
And it's obviously Laura, and it's her telling me kind of how dare I block her. I'm an absolute coward for not just talking to her. She knew this is the kind of person I was. I'm a huge liar. I
Mm.
am manipulative. Anything she could have said, she said.
Right.
Um, and for the most part, compared to what happens subsequently,
Hmm.
is it was pretty. I mean, it was tame, but it was
Right.
still very annoying and
Yeah, and
very
at the time, because you have nothing in the future to compare it to yet, because the future hasn't happened, you're thinking this is getting out of control, right? Like
yeah,
or you're distancing yourself from this person for reasons for, as you call them, pink flags. But this, at this moment, this, even just this, is like a new side of her that she's showing you, correct?
yes, yes,
Okay, yeah,
very
yeah,
much so, and it was just so the reaction of I mean, nobody likes to get blocked, but, like,
yeah,
the
yeah.
reaction of it seemed so much more it just didn't match up,
Right,
especially
yeah,
because to me, she's like a casual friend, not
yeah,
a
yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't even call her a very good friend, like, I
yeah,
wouldn't call her, like, a deep friend, I have way more, closer friends,
totally.
so it was a very strange reaction, I just didn't quite understand it,
Yeah, I mean, the most normal reaction I think to getting blocked is, at least in my mind, it's, oh, this person doesn't want me to contact them. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? It's like I would do the
yeah.
opposite. I would
Yeah,
withdraw from that person, not attack, because it's like you
yes,
block me. That's how badly you don't want me to be in your life. Bye. But
fine, yeah.
obviously she's doing the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it was crazy, and my girlfriend's asleep at the time, so here I am, like, just
Yeah.
absolutely freaking out about these texts that I'm getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I went to sleep, I woke up, I told my girlfriend about it, and we both kind of were like, "Whoa, she's crazy, block that number and be done with
Right.
it."
Right.
So, okay, I blocked that number, and I thought that was kinda be it. Um it wasn't. She
Uh-huh.
proceeded to just make more unknown numbers that she could text me from. And she would text me all hours of the day, all hours of the night, many, many, many text messages, all huge paragraphs worth of
Oh
stuff. I mean,
my
for the most part, huge
God.
paragraphs worth of stuff. Um, to the point where at the end of it, she texted me over 500 times by over 37 different phone numbers.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, yeah. So the second round of texts from the second number it got progressively more vile and
Oh.
just disgusting. She would use things that I told her about my past, about my
Oh God.
girlfriend, about my ex-roommate as like ammo for the
Yeah.
things that she could say that she knew would hurt my feelings.
Sure. Yeah. God.
She she commented about my body because, like, the reason I met my girlfriend was that I was going to the gym and trying to work
Mm.
out and, like, lose
Mhm.
weight and stuff,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and so she commented that it's not working kind of thing,
Oh my God.
she she said so many things about my girlfriend and about how she's probably not a lesbian, she's actually probably trans because her voice is so deep, like, things that
Wow.
were
Wow.
seemed
Wow.
homophobic to me, like,
Right. 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 Yeah.
in ways that were very confusing because she's at the same time touting about how, she's like the epitome of a perfect lesbian, and
Right.
she
Right.
knows everything there is to know about being in the community and what it's like to be gay, and I couldn't possibly know what it's like to be gay because I'm so new to it, and she went through my Instagram. It was clear that she went through my Instagram and, like, picked out photos that I have with me and other friends or me and, like, my guy friends, and she'd
Uh
be
huh.
like, how many times did you fuck those guys? And how many, just so many things, disgusting, really personal things about me hooking up with basically anybody that I had ever come in contact with.
Is this,
Um
and the frequency is what? Are we talking every single day, or are we talking how, like, what
For
are
the
we?
most part, yeah, for the most part, every day.
Whoa.
There would be times where she would text me. I think that I don't know if she was drinking or if she was doing other things, but
Mm.
it would be a lot of times during the day I would have like one or two texts and it would be
Mhm.
kind of tame. And then
Yeah.
like come midnight, between midnight and like 4 a.m., I'd get like a barrage of text messages from her. It was
Oh,
crazy.
wow. Yeah.
I
Wow.
remember one time I was at the grocery store, just shopping for groceries, and in the middle of it, I got like a really hateful text, and it just completely fucked my mood. Like my entire day was ruined from then. So there were just
Speaking of
she
that though, like how is it affecting your because I understand when it first starts, you're overwhelmed, you're maybe even panicked, it's a lot of it's a lot of new things, but as it starts to settle in and this is becoming your new normal, getting these texts every fucking day and every night, like how is this affecting your mood or mental state?
terrible,
Okay.
terrible. So this all happened like the first text happened like 3 or 4 days, maybe like a week before I moved into this house with my girlfriend.
Right,
So
yeah.
like it completely ruined
Yeah.
that whole entire experience. In fact, the day that we moved in, all of this had been happening for several days after that dinner date. And to the point where my girlfriend was like, "You should go to the cops about this. Like
Oh, wow.
it's
Wow,
getting
it
a little
was
fucked."
that intense that
It
quickly.
was that
Wow.
intense.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so and I and me, one, I'm first of all not the person that's gonna be like, yeah, the cops are the first people that I'm going to. That's just
Right,
not
yeah.
that's not what I would think of.
Yeah.
I was like, this isn't that serious.
Mm.
So I really reluctantly went to the cops the first
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
So the day that we moved in the middle, she had her movers come in the morning. I did the afternoon, and sandwiched in between that, we went to the police department and filed a police report.
Whoa,
So,
okay.
like, that was a weird day.
Yeah, that sounds like a
Um,
very, very weird day, yeah.
yeah. So the cops that I went to the cops in the town that my apartment was in because they told me that that was where you had to file the police report, in the
Okay.
town that you are currently residing.
Mm,
So,
mhm.
I went to that police department, I filed the police report. The cop didn't really know what he could do at that
Well, that's what I was
time.
gonna say, like, what would at this stage, at least, what would it be considered by the police as a potential crime? Like, what are we it's not stalking, it's harassment? What
No,
are we talking about?
harassment. Yeah,
Okay,
it was
yeah.
harassment, and I, at the time, excuse me, didn't want to, I didn't wanna file a police report, or I filed a police report, but I didn't wanna file any charges against
Okay.
her
Okay.
because I knew that that was gonna open up a whole other can of worms.
Right.
So, I
If
was
blocking
like
her upset her this
yeah,
much,
yes,
like having a
exactly,
pressing charges against her is gonna make her turn into a fucking demon or
exactly.
something. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and because she had told me so many things in the past that she had dealt with
Right.
police, and so she had this whole thing that, she hates cops, she doesn't trust them. They, are all corrupt, and
Yeah.
she has
Yeah.
PTSD from getting arrested in the past, like things like that. So I knew
Got
that
it.
getting the cops involved with her specifically was going to
Right. Yeah.
be a thing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So, so I went to the cops. I told him about it. He asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said no, not at that particular time. I'll come back if I do. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, at least I have it documented that this is what's happening and this
Right.
is what I'm telling the cops.
Totally.
Um, Rewind a little bit, because during our friendship, she let me borrow this book that was
Mm.
about being gay, and
Mhm.
like newly coming out kind of thing.
Mhm.
And so I had that book, and part of what she had been texting me was, "Give me my book back." And
Okay.
she was kind of using that as a way to we're still connected because you have this book. Mind you,
God.
I'd had the
Yeah.
book for like 7 months. I hadn't opened it, and she never mentioned it to me again. It wasn't like a
Right.
letting you borrow this book. Can I have it back when you're done with it? It was like a, here's the book. You might want it. Like, let's
Totally.
whatever. So
It's so
it was
interesting how these I mean, not that this Laura woman is like anybody that I've ever known, but there's like a suite of qualities or characteristics that people who act like this when jilted or whatever towards someone that they perceive has insulted them or harmed them or hurt them, they have these same kinds of tactics like you have that thing of mine that I need back. When can I get it? How can I get it? I want it. And it's like, you didn't give a shit about that until we had a falling out. Like, and then
Yep.
the other thing you mentioned that really reminded me of, not to the degree that Laura is exhibiting and going to exhibit it in the near future, but in my experience, some of the more, maybe let's say, crazy ex girlfriends of mine, uh, the texting ramping up in that one window between midnight and 4 a.m., where it's just like, I remember there were moments in my life where I would roll over to my phone after waking up and think, what the fuck's it going to be this morning? And you
Yes.
just open it up, you got like 12 texts that are just telling you how terrible you are, how much this person's always hated you, they've always known this, and how I've always been this certain way, that I'm such a whatever, this and that. And it's so interesting that it's almost like a prototype, this kind of
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Laura fits that to a T and then some. Yeah.
Oh yeah, prototype is the perfect word because that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was crazy. So I had the book, um, and she had been part of the text where that she was going to come to my apartment. She's going to wait outside my apartment, and so that I could give her the book, or she'll come to my work, or she'll come to my girlfriend's work, to get the book. And as soon as I give her
God.
the book, she'll leave me alone. So like it was like
Yeah.
I'll
Fucking
give her
right,
the
dude.
book. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I went to go file the police report, I brought the book with me and I gave it to
Mm.
the cop and I was like, here's the book. I will tell her that you have it.
Yeah.
You can come pick it up here. And then like, I'm done with
Wow,
this
that's
now.
fucking
Right.
so
Like,
that is such a smart move on your part, by
yeah,
the way. Like, that's a
yeah.
great, great thought. That's fucking brilliant. Yeah.
Well,
Also,
and because I
that
knew, uh, sorry,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna ask, like, how much are you even responding to her at all?
Oh, I'm not
Okay,
responding to
okay,
her
okay.
at all.
Got it. Okay.
I don't think, no, I didn't respond at all at this
Okay.
time.
Also
The
smart. I mean, that's the only
Yeah.
way to do this kind of shit. Yeah, totally.
Well, because I figured, I mean, I'd ghosted people before. I've been ghosted before. No
Right, right,
contact. That's all you have to do. It's not that
right.
big of a deal.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So when I brought the book to the police department,
Uh-huh.
they told me to specifically message her back and say,
Mm,
stop contacting me, specifically say, stop contacting me, and tell her that the book is here and she
got
can
it.
come pick it up whenever she
Got
wants.
it. Okay, cool.
So I did. I responded to her and I said, "Stop contacting me. I'm done with this. You can get your book at the police department."
Mhm.
And she obviously didn't like that. She was like, Obviously, I'm not going to the police department to get it. Like, I'm coming to your apartment to get it. I don't care, yada, yada, yada." And I had to message her to be like, "I don't
God.
even have it anymore.
It's not
The
with me.
cops have
Yeah.
it."
All right, yeah.
No. So, like, it is what it is. Um, and then, like, 2 weeks later, we both got a postcard that said, "You have evidence here at the police department, come pick it up when you want," which is telling her, "Hey, we have the book. If you want it back, you
Ah,
come
okay,
get
yeah.
it,"
Got it,
basically.
yeah.
So after I filed the police report, I was kind of hoping that was going to be it. I really
Yeah,
was hoping that that was going to be the last thing,
right.
but obviously it wasn't. At that time, my girlfriend was telling me, "Don't read the messages that she's sending to you.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not good for you." It was affecting being able to live in our house. It was affecting the move-in. It was affecting me completely, just because I was completely terrified of everything.
Mhm.
And she was hurting my feelings. Like it
Yeah,
it every message that she sent made me feel like shit about myself,
yeah.
which is exactly what she wanted. So,
Totally, yeah, yeah.
it was working.
Yeah.
Um, and so at the time, my girlfriend said, "Don't read them." And
Mhm.
I should have listened to her, but really what it was just constantly popping up on my phone. It was so hard not to read them that
Yeah.
I just I couldn't not.
And is it
Um,
still always from a new number? Is this how she's doing it? It's always
yeah. Yeah. She would text me from one number like 10 to 20 times on one number, and then she would stop texting me, and then she'd switch to another number and text me from
Wow.
that number because she knew that she only had a certain window
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
to
yeah.
let have me read them before I would block them.
Yeah,
So,
totally, yeah.
and she mentions that in some of the texts too. She's like, I have to keep sending you from different numbers because I don't know how quick you're blocking them," kind of thing.
Dude, give it
Crazy.
up. It's like,
Yeah.
fucking give it up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And so my
Yeah.
girlfriend is like, telling me that I should be filing charges against her to really put it to a stop. But I was so
Right.
afraid to continue down the road with the cops. I just didn't want to get involved with like the court and needing to do
Yeah.
all that stuff, that
Yeah.
I just really didn't want to do it. I was like, hopefully, if I just let it go and
Yeah.
just whatever, her, she'll run out of steam
Right.
eventually, and like just drop it, and we can both move on from this and just
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So because I wouldn't go to the cops, my girlfriend asked me, she's like, listen, if she texts you, especially if she's texting, because she texted me a lot of things about my girlfriend.
Mm.
If she texts you, like, I can't really hear about it because I'm just annoyed that, like, I'm pissed that you're not going to the cops to do it. So she like kind of set
Yeah.
that boundary for me on that, because she was like, listen, I want to be there for you, but my solution to you is go to the cops. And if you're not
Mhm.
willing to do that, then like I can't, you
Mm.
know, I can't really be a part of it.
Yeah.
Um, so she's texting me all of these things, and I'm not telling anybody about them. I'm just in it
Mm.
on my own. My girlfriend, I think she kind of figured or thought, if I'm getting a text message, like, then it's probably from her,
Oh my
but we just
god,
weren't
what like a
talking about
dark
it.
cloud what a dark cloud over the whole relationship now. It's like it's
Yeah.
seeping into fucking everything, which again is even more frustrating. You said this about something else earlier. This is what Laura wants. Like that
Yeah,
becomes
that's what
the
she
worst
wanted.
part about all of this. Like their
Mhm.
whole agenda is to fuck your life up in any which way
Yep.
that they can. So any version of that is another point for them. And that's
Yeah.
totally what's happening. That makes it all the more upsetting while you're experiencing it, Because
Yeah.
obviously it sucks that your relationship is getting fucked from it. But then on top of that, it's like it's because of this fucking crazy person that won't give up. And
Mhm.
that makes it doubly terrible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it really made the time of us moving in together feel so shitty when it
Yeah.
should have been just, like, the most fun
Oh
time.
man.
Like, I remember we were out buying furniture and, like, just shit to put on the walls and stuff, and I'm getting text messages from Laura while we're out, and, like, she can my girlfriend can see that my entire mood completely shifts,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to be cool about it off in the corner and, like, deal with it on my own, and it was just so hard to do. It
That
really,
fucking
really, really
sucks.
affected my mental health to the point where, I
Yeah.
mean, I was talking to my therapist about it regularly. It was a whole thing.
Oh
It
god.
yeah, it got crazy. So, this happened for about a month. It went on like this nonstop 24/7. And the final straw for me was I got a text from her saying sending I got a text from her essentially saying, "Congrats on the purchase of your home at 1234 Main
Oh my
Street."
god. She
It's
knew
like
your
she
address.
knew my address,
Oh
which I
god.
never told her,
That's
obviously.
scary. That's legitimately scary. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So she
Yeah.
clearly like looked it up online and saw that, this is the house that we live in, and she said, expect a housewarming present,
Oh my
from
god.
me soon. Which, what does that mean? What could that mean?
It's like Cape Fear.
Um,
It's like what the fuck's gonna happen? It's like one of your cat's heads
yeah.
in a box or something. Yeah.
That's exactly it, yeah, and
Yeah,
every
yeah.
it made it so that it was at that point, that was when I was like, "Okay, am I being watched or am I
And that
being
feels like a direct
followed?"
threat. It's a direct threat.
100%,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
must have gone to the
So,
police again after this, right?
that was it. It was
Yeah.
that day
Yeah.
I went to the cops. So I went to the
Right.
cops at our local, where the house is, which is a different town from where my
Oh,
apartment
okay.
was.
Okay.
Um, so I go to the cops and I walk in and I'm like, "Listen, I'm here because I'm being harassed by someone via text
Mhm.
message. I don't know what can be done. I filed this previous police report in
Mhm.
this other town. I had it with me.
Mm.
And what can be done? What can I do?" kind of thing. And the cop that I met with was at first, I think at first was kinda like, I don't really know that we can help you with anything."
Mm.
But he's like, "Can I read the text?" And I said, "Sure." So I handed him my phone, and he started reading the text, and I could see the change in
Yeah,
him
yeah, yeah.
be like, "Whoa," like, "Holy
Yeah,
crap, like, this is
yeah.
insane."
He's like, "I
I
don't think we can help you."
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it,
Yeah.
and it was immediately like he
Yeah.
was on my side and wanted to stop this for me.
That's amazing.
Um yeah, so it was really great that he was the one that got involved.
Yeah.
So I filed the police report, met with him. He asked me for her regular phone number
Mm.
because he was gonna contact her and just say, I'm officer so and so from the police department.
Mhm.
Stop contacting Tess,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
we're going to have to file some charges.
Right.
Um, and so he said that for the course of like the next day or so, him and I were calling each other and texting each other, and he was telling me that he was calling her and texting her to give her this message, but he wanted to give it to her in person. So what he was
Mm.
texting and calling her for was to say, "Can we meet up? Can I come to your apartment?" Or, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and he called her and texted her so many times that she eventually texted him and said she was going to contact his supervisor for harassing her because he was
Oh my
contacting her too many
god,
times.
that's fucking
Yeah.
hilarious. Wow.
Yeah. The
The
cop thought
on
that was funny too.
the complete lack of awareness in her
Yeah.
mind, like
Yeah.
the warp. They're so fucking warped, people like this. Like it's just so only about them.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is an affront to them. Anything they do is totally justified and warranted because they get their position because they are them. They don't have any
Yes.
awareness of like other people are also people and you are one of those people too. Everyone's going through the same shit. So like the same applies to you as it does to anybody else. But they don't fucking think
No,
like
not
that.
for her.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
not
yeah,
for
yeah.
her. She's
It's
she's totally
crazy.
unique.
Yeah, of
One thing
course.
that was really funny that the cop told me, and I thought this was hilarious, and he thought it was hilarious, is that at one point she's texting him back the same kind of vile shit that she's been texting me this whole time.
Wow, wow,
Because
wow.
she just has that much audacity
Right, yeah.
that she at one point tells him, that this cop, that like he can't mess with her because she's part of a protected class, um because she's a lesbian,
Okay.
like everything is a hate crime to her, like
Okay, right, yeah,
a
okay, yeah.
lot of things have gone wrong in her life according to her because of
Mhm.
her sexuality, and
Okay,
that could
okay.
very well be the case in
Right,
her
it could be. Yeah, yeah,
experience,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I think in this case for sure she used it as a get out of
Mm,
jail free card kind of thing, or
got
or
it,
she kind of thought it was going to be her get out of jail free card thing.
got it.
Um, but so she tells the cop that he's like a racist asshole, and she's sure
Mm.
that he just arrests black people for, the for no reason and all this kinds of stuff. And
She's just saying
this
shit.
just saying stuff,
Yeah.
and to the point where he had to tell her he's black. So he said, he was like, honey, I'm black. Like, I don't know what you want to like.
That's
It was so
hilarious.
it was really funny. And he laughed about that and like what a joke she really is, and the
Right.
communications and it only fueled his fire
Yeah.
against her and for
Yeah, yeah.
me, all of the more bullshit she said to him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
eventually he got, I guess he said he went to his supervisor and asked permission to like go to her apartment and like knock on the
Mhm.
door.
Mm.
And not to serve her with anything, not to do anything,
Yeah.
just to say, don't contact Tess anymore. So he did that. He went to her apartment, and left a note, left his card underneath her door and on her car. And after that, I got a bunch of text messages from her about like, you can't stick the cops on me. I know the law better than they do.
I don't think that's
Um,
true, Laura. I don't think you
Yeah,
know the
yeah,
law
no.
better than cops. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
nope, according to her, she does.
Right, of course, yeah.
Um, she knows how to get out of things better because, she's dealt with the cops before and
I've been in
all these
trouble with the
things.
cops so many times. I know the law better than cops.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yep, that's
Okay. It's
exactly
some
it.
claim,
So,
yeah.
yeah, she said a lot of stuff about that. And after that, once he really officially told her, "Hey, stop contacting Tess," that was when he told me, "Listen, you should file a restraining order against
Mhm.
her."
Yeah, right.
Um, so I contacted a lawyer friend of mine and asked what that meant. In Connecticut, there's two different types of restraining orders that you can file. One is a civil restraining order, and then the other one is a family restraining order. Family
Mhm.
restraining order is anytime you have a relationship with if you have a relationship with someone, no matter what kind of relationship that is, it's a family, or if you've dated someone, even if you've gone
Ah,
on one date with someone, it's a family protective order. If
okay.
you're just it's a civil one, it's just like a two neighbors, whatever. Like you
Okay.
so it's a different way to file a civil versus a family
Okay.
protective order. Um, I could file a civil because we've never had any sort of
Right.
relationship
Right, right, right.
like that.
Yeah.
So I went to the court, I filed my restraining order, I filed my civil one, and waited to hear back on, what was gonna happen, because you can file it and request immediate relief, but you still have to go to court, and then the court will tell you, is the relief happening,
Okay. Right. Yeah.
continuing, or is it not?
Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
I didn't get immediate relief. I
Mm.
had to go to court, but I didn't get immediate relief.
Okay.
Um, so I filed my restraining order. She got served with the documents.
Okay.
Um, and after she got served, that was the last time I heard from her. I didn't
Whoa.
hear any more. I didn't get any more text messages from her.
That's actually
Um,
really interesting.
yeah,
The psychology is just like the cop
yeah,
coming to her door and saying stop didn't do shit. In
no,
fact, it
think
emboldened
about
her.
that.
But getting
Yeah,
served, she zipped her lip or stopped
yeah,
texting. Yeah, wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So the
So
day
she
that she got served,
mhm.
she stopped texting me. I didn't hear anything from her via phone, and I still
Yeah.
haven't. So,
Wow. Okay.
um, so that's a good thing.
Right, of course,
Um,
yeah. But
but
then your
because I
court date's
filed
coming, right?
Then we
Yeah.
had our court date.
Yeah.
So I'd hired an attorney,
Mhm.
a real bulldog, awesome attorney who,
Mhm.
like, completely, again, had my side, and was like,
Mm.
"Oh yeah, we've got this in the bag, no problem." I downloaded a program on my computer where you can, like, plug your phone into it, and it'll print off all of the text messages from any phone number that you have.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
in, like, timestamps and dates and everything, so that it was very, this is what she was saying to me, this is when she was saying it to me, and
Mhm.
here's all of the evidence of the harassment. Um,
And you still had all that. You didn't delete it all. You still had fucking brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, I deleted, like, at the end of it, when I printed them all out, I only had 333 messages, but in about, like, 2 weeks before I filed the restraining order, um, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna delete them, so that I'm not
Mm.
reading them."
Yeah.
So I did delete some of them, but, for the most part, I had
Great.
almost all of them.
Great.
I also had her original chain of text messages
Right, right.
that proved that we never talked about anything,
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, relationship-wise, it was all
Yeah.
platonic. So it was very, like, I had a lot of stuff to back it up.
Clear
Um
documentation that everything you're saying in your version is the way it really was. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. When I went to file the restraining order against her, the attorney, I hadn't hired my attorney yet at that point, but the attorney that I talked to said, go to the family court, because she had mentioned previously that she had, other restraining orders filed, or
Mhm.
a
Right,
restraining
yeah.
order filed against her. Go to the family court, because that's not, you can't find that online. You have to physically go to the court and, like, look in their system to see if this person is in their
Oh,
system. So
okay.
after you go to the court to file the restraining order, go across the street to the other court building, talk to the clerk there, and see if you can get some information on whatever other cases she's had brought against her. So
Uh-oh.
yeah, so I went
Uh,
over to the court,
yeah.
and talked to a very nice clerk there who helped me and printed out four other restraining orders that she had out against her. One of
4?
them, four of them, yeah, four of
That's
them,
so many
and
restraining orders.
it's an unbelievable amount of orders, yeah.
That's fucking
And
crazy.
one of them had been filed, this is February of 2023. One of them had been filed in, like, November of 2024. So, like, it was
Or
very
November
close to each
2022, you mean,
other.
the year prior.
That's what I meant. Yes, yeah, a year prior. So,
Whoa,
like,
dude. So
just a
she's just
couple
fucking
months.
so even, like, while she's
Yeah.
fucking with you, there's, like, a
Uh-huh.
whole other world underneath
Yep.
that where she's fucking with somebody else. How
Yeah.
does this
Yep.
woman have so much literally, my first thought is, how does this woman have so much fucking time?
Yeah, how do you
Like,
keep up with this? I
how
have
do you
no
do
idea.
this?
I
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was bonkers. And the so when you file a restraining order, you've got to put, like, who the person is, where they're from, how do you know them, yada
Yeah.
yada. But you also have to write out a full affidavit of,
Mm.
why you're filing this restraining
Mhm.
order. So, because I could pull up the four restraining orders, I printed them out, and I brought them with me to meet with my attorney that I
Yeah,
hired
yeah.
for the court case. And reading the affidavits, they all read almost exactly the same. I met Laura, we dated, we had a relationship for, however long they had it, and then things went south, and shit went down and the cops got involved, and now
Whoa.
I'm filing this restraining order because she won't stop texting me. And in fact, one of the I think two of them at least say that she made got different numbers, spoofed
Mm.
numbers, and continued to text after I said please don't contact me, kind of thing. So they all read super similar.
And the only difference actually would be yours because you didn't even date. So like
Yeah,
but other than that, they're all the same.
they're all the same.
That's
Yeah,
fucking
completely the same.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
it
What an MO.
on one hand, yeah, absolutely. On one hand, it made me feel better that like
Right.
I wasn't
Of
it
course.
wasn't just
Yeah.
me and that
Yep.
I didn't just
Yeah.
fall prey to this crazy person. But on the other hand, it made me feel even more shitty because I'm like, geez, like this is information that I mean, you'd have to know to go look for it, but it's
Of
available
course.
to you. And like
Right.
this is information people should know when if you're getting
Yeah.
involved with this person,
Yeah.
because
How the hell could you
that's such a s-
possibly have thought of
you
it? But
can't.
I get what you're
No.
saying, but you can't
Yeah.
blame yourself for that. But yeah, no, I totally get feeling almost relief that you're not the only one, especially if those other people
Yeah.
are like all alive. I'd be like, are they
Yeah,
still fucking
yes.
alive? Okay, well, I mean, at
Yeah.
least she's not gonna fucking kill me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're definitely all alive for sure.
yeah, great, great
So
news. Yeah.
yeah, great news. So I brought the
Hmm.
affidavits with me to the attorney that I hired, and she was gonna use those in
Yeah,
evidence as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so fast forward to the court date.
Hmm.
Um, the cop that was helping me was also at the court that day because he got subpoenaed to be there for me.
Mm.
And he was going to testify on my behalf and tell the judge of all the communications he had with Laura.
Hmm.
Um, and we weren't sure that Laura was going to show up. I
Of
was
course.
represented.
Yeah.
I had my attorney. She wasn't represented. She was representing herself.
Okay.
Um, and so because she knows the law better
Of
than the
course.
cops. So like,
Why
why
would
would
she
she have an
hire a
attorney?
lawyer when she is the
Exactly.
law? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we weren't sure she was going to show up, and I was really banking on the fact that she wasn't going to show up.
I would also think she would not. I mean, just that would be my guess. Yeah.
If the roles were reversed, I don't think I'd show up to that. At
Right.
that point, I would have been like, okay, the game's
Yeah.
up. Like,
Dead
I
to, they got me
gotta,
dead to rights. I'm
yeah,
done. I'm not
yeah.
texting anymore. It's over. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I yeah, we really weren't sure she was going to show up. So, but we're waiting for the doors to open to the court. There's going to be 4 cases that day. We don't know what order they're going to be heard in, but it's going to be all the same, like
Mm.
restraining orders.
Hmm.
Um, and we're waiting by the side of the door, and I'm talking to the cop, and the cop's telling me that he found out pre this date that she has a warrant out for her arrest for strangulation and harassment from someone else.
Strangulation. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yep.
That's
So
a
she
whole
had
other
That's a
threshold
whole
that she has
thing.
crossed. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm freaking out. Like, what do you mean
Yeah. Yeah.
strangulation?
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
she was
Totally.
crazy, but I didn't realize it was that crazy.
Difference. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
like you said, that levels her up like a lot
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah.
Um, but that he was going to get the warrant was with the state police, and so he was going to get the state police to meet him and
Mm.
us so that after her hearing and after our hearing she would get arrested for she'd get arrested for that warrant.
Yeah.
um
Right. Yeah.
so because he's a local cop, not a state
Hmm.
trooper, so he
Hmm.
contacts the state trooper's office, which is located right across the street from the
Hmm.
courthouse, and tells them, this is what we're going to do. I've got somebody here with a warrant
Hmm.
with the state troopers. Come get her
Hmm.
after this hearing. So a couple minutes later, we file into the courtroom. It's a big ornate room, super echoey. And I'm sitting there absolutely freaking out. Like my heart is
Yeah.
beating super fast. We've got to listen to this other court case.
Mm.
And the whole time I'm like, hurry the fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. I don't
Totally.
like,
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here for this.
Yeah.
And about halfway through that court case, a, a gaggle of cops it comes filing into the room.
Whoa.
Probably like 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them. They say, "Are you Laura?" "Yes, I am." "Come with us, please." They escort her out of the courtroom, and immediately she gets just past the door for the courtroom, and her voice goes wild. She just starts screaming, "What am I
Oh,
getting arrested for? What's happening? You know, I'm here." She yelled out, "I'm here because my girlfriend filed a restraining order against me." She called me
oh
her
my
girlfriend.
God.
So she s- caused this big fucking scene, like this crazy thing, to the point where she screamed. She said she was getting assaulted. She claimed she was getting raped.
Raped?
Yep, she yelled that
Wait, what the
um
fuck?
she wanted a female officer there for her.
Right.
So
Okay.
she,
I
you
mean,
know,
fair enough. Yeah.
but there were like three
Oh,
of them.
okay.
So it like didn't make any sense. It was crazy. So
Wow.
I can't remember. I want to say this happened this time, but it could have happened the last time. I'll I think it happened this time. So
Okay.
while she's getting arrested in the courtroom,
I love that
the
there's another
entire
time, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
ahead of myself, but yeah. So while she's getting arrested, she's in this hallway, and it's a courthouse. It's
Yeah.
echoey as fuck
Super
in there.
loud. Yeah, yeah.
She's screaming at the top of her lungs. The entire building like basically comes out of whatever they're doing to like make sure everybody's okay. So it's a
Whoa. What a
huge scene,
commotion. Yeah.
a huge commotion. It's absolutely insane. So I'm I'm terrified. I'm so sad about this. Like
Yeah.
I don't like, this girl has fucked up the last, several months or weeks of my life, but like I don't wish bad things on
Yeah,
her. This is
totally.
and
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
really a terrible traumatic thing for anybody to watch, let
Yeah.
alone somebody that you knew
Yeah.
and that you
Totally.
once called a
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want that to happen to her.
Mhm.
She made it worse than it really was, but
Yeah,
like
of
it
course.
was
Yeah.
just
Wow.
it was crazy. She'd lost her mind. This is the thing that so she while she's getting arrested, she tells the cops that she needs her medicine, she needs to she's got PTSD, all these things. She says, "I want to make a phone call to my attorney." And the cop says, that usually happens later, but
Yeah.
fine.
Right. Okay.
Maybe I think he probably did that hoping that it would like calm her down a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And this is, mind you, the state troopers that are arresting her.
Yeah. Yeah.
She asks for her phone call. She gets the phone call. She dials 911 and reports that she's getting kidnapped to the local police department that picks up the phone.
That's not
So,
what kidnapping is.
yeah,
Dude,
so
imagine getting arrested and being like, I'm being kidnapped
yeah.
by the
Yep.
police.
So
Yeah.
she gets called out of the courtroom, and she's waiting there, she looks crazy. I mean, she looks absolutely crazed, but she's waiting there because the troopers can't take her away because they have to wait for the state or for the
Oh
local cops to
my
come and
God.
like be like, "Listen, she's not getting kidnapped, she's getting arrested."
Oh my God. What a fucking insane scene.
Yeah, it was wild. The last I saw her at that day was she was getting hauled away in an ambulance because she told them that she was having a panic attack, and they asked her if she wanted an ambulance. She said yes, and then they took her away to the hospital. And then I don't know what happened after that because I didn't see or know, and it's not my business because it wasn't
I'm
my case. So like I couldn't
I'm
have called
sure
and
it
asked
was
about it.
eventful in some way or another, but
Yeah.
what? That
Oh,
that that sounds like the
yeah.
craziest fucking court appearance like in history.
It wasn't.
That's fucking. Oh, there's the next one is even worse. Okay,
It wasn't.
let's have it then.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned there's
So
another one. Okay, yeah,
yeah. So because we never got to our
yeah.
part
There's no
of the
resolution.
hearing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay,
So
yeah,
because of that, I didn't like get it. I was like, okay, well, the cops should just, or the judge should be like, this bitch is
yeah.
crazy.
That's over.
Let's give her this
Yeah,
restraint. Yeah,
yeah.
no hearing
Granted.
necessary. But
Yeah.
she's allowed to tell her side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to continue the
Yeah.
date, and
Mm-hmm.
my lawyer was not available, and the cop wasn't available like
Mm.
on two different weeks. So we had to push it out by a whole month.
Okay.
So like I'm that month was completely devastating to me. Like I was like, I need this to get
You
out
need
of
to
my
end.
face. Like
It needs to
I
end.
can't handle this anymore. I was totally distracted at work. Like I couldn't do work. It was super hard for me to maintain my interpersonal relationships with my other friends and such,
Mhm.
because this was so all consuming to me that I
Mhm.
couldn't really talk about anything else besides this, even though I
Yeah.
didn't want to talk about anything besides this.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So it was like, it was just a really weird and strange and terrible time.
Yeah.
So fast forward, I've got everything locked down with my attorney that we're good to go. We know exactly what we're going to say. And let me rewind a little bit, that after the whole thing with the book went down,
Mhm.
I decided that if she wasn't going to go get the book from the PD, the only other way that I was going to get her out of my hair was to get her the book
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah,
And
okay, yeah.
the police wouldn't give me back the book, because at that point to them it's like it's evidence.
Sure,
So
yeah.
they wouldn't give it back to me. So I ordered the book on Amazon. I
Mm.
had it shipped to her apartment,
Mm.
and I wrote like a note to her, or it came to my house. I had a note. I
Mm.
put the note inside the book, and then I shipped it to her. And in the
Mhm.
note, I basically said like, "This is the best that you're going to get from me for a response. You you're too much for me. Your
Yeah.
opinion is your opinion,
Yeah.
but I never asked for it. And thanks, but no thanks, and good luck in life."
Mhm.
Um, At this point in some of the texts, she had said to me that she had feelings for me, and that,
Mhm.
she had kind of assumed that we were in some sort of
Right.
emotional relationship.
I mean, she made that up
And
entirely, but okay, yeah.
yeah, and which I said so
Yeah.
in the note, just to say
Yeah.
like, if you thought there was something going on between us, like I'm sorry, there wasn't.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I definitely didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't share that same sentiment. Um, and then I kind of in the last paragraph I kind of just said a couple things that were like debunking the stupid weird lies. Like, for
Mm.
one of the lies was that she swore that I worked at Amazon for like a full year, and because she worked at Amazon, and I was ignoring her the entire time I was working at Amazon, because I thought I was too good to be her friend, until I decided I was going to be gay. This whole
Mm.
thing. Um,
Interesting.
so
Wow.
in the note, I left in the note. I put it in the book. I mailed her the book. I wasn't sure she ever got the book, because
Mhm.
I never got a tracking notification.
Mm.
And she had always said several times that like getting things shipped to her is a 50-50 because of people stealing packages and stuff.
Mm. Okay.
So like I was like, okay, maybe she just never
Right.
got it, and whatever. And it had gotten too far past that I was like, that
Yeah,
the
you're not
book
gonna
thing
ask
is
her,
over.
"Hey, I know
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
everything's a little weird between us, but did you get my book?" Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, did you get that book? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's kind of an aside, because it's going to come up
Right,
in the
yeah.
next court case. So we fast forward the month, we go, that time passes, it's a terrible month. We get to the court date. Again, I wasn't sure she was gonna show up. She did. And this time we got our hearing. She was representing herself, and I had my attorney. So in the beginning of the case, the judge kind of basically said, like, "I know that you're representing yourself. The legal system is weird enough to navigate for real
Right.
attorneys,
Right,
so
yeah.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a pass in
Mm.
that you don't really know courtroom decorum, or like,
Mm.
how to handle yourself in a courtroom, or what you can and cannot ask, or whatever. So I'll kind of guide you through those things if there's any issues." And the judge kind of gave her a little, was just kind of being nice about all of that in the beginning. Um, I got called to this, or the cop got called to the stand first. He told the story, same story that I told, that, he talked to her. She was a little crazy, whatever. Um, then I get called to the stand. I'm up on the stand. My attorney asks me a bunch of questions. She's asking me about how I came across the other restraining orders,
Mm.
um, a little, history about what happened, why I filed my restraining order, talking about the text, talking about the book, um, just, giving a synopsis of what's been
Mhm.
happening. And um, we've got this whole stack of papers for evidence of printed out texts and things like that. And my attorney brings it up, and wants to submit those texts into evidence. And Laura objects and says that how are we to know that those texts are really from me? They're, unknown numbers and they can't be traced back to anybody. Um,
Wow, that's pretty. I
and
mean, all
so
things aside, that's pretty fucking smart. But something tells me
honestly,
it
yeah,
doesn't work. But yeah, okay, yeah, it
she's
sounds
done
smart. Yeah, yeah.
it was clear based on the things that she was talking about that she had done a little bit of research and or this wasn't her first
Yeah,
rodeo. So
exactly. Yeah,
like
yeah,
she could have
yeah.
just known what to say and
Totally.
do.
Yeah.
So my attorney's talking about these texts and the judge is agreeing with Laura and saying, well, she's right.
Technically, you cannot prove it.
Technically,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if we can't prove that it's her, then whatever. So
Mm.
the judge decides not to let the text in.
Wow.
So that was like a huge blow to
Yeah.
the case. And then because I'm getting questioned, that's Laura's turn to cross-examine me. Um,
Jeez.
and so she's asking me a bunch of questions. The first thing she asked me was, um, how long did I think that we were dating for? And I said we weren't dating, we were
0
friends.
days, 0 days, 0 hours,
0
0
days.
minutes. Yeah.
Yep. And then she said, "Well, when we first went out for drinks, you didn't think that that was romantic or, when I asked you out for
Wow,
drinks, you didn't
dude.
think."
This is the
And
most
I
hung up motherfucker in the world.
yeah.
Like, get over it.
Yeah. Well, and I at that point, I looked her straight in the eye and I said, "I don't assume every person I go out for drinks with, I'm on a date with."
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, yeah.
just you usually establish that kind of thing
Yeah.
before you go out with
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so it
Yeah.
didn't make any sense to me. So I think that was a bit of a blow. But during that conversation, she's cross-examining me. She brings up the book
Mhm.
and she lifts up the package that I sent it
Mm.
to her in and
Mm.
says, here's the book. I can't remember why she brought it up in the first place, but I think it was to say to the judge that like I stole from her because that was one of the
Mhm.
things that she was trying to
Right,
say.
right, right. Yeah.
Um, so she holds up the book
Mhm.
and continues to ask me questions, do all this thing, whatever. After she's done, she says she's done with asking me questions. My attorney can ask me follow-ups. And she
Right.
says, Laura mentioned the book. Are there any text messages that
Oh, yeah,
mention the
dude.
book? And I was like, yeah, that's like my attorney knew
Yeah.
exactly what to do at that point
Yeah.
because I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, there's several of them that
Yeah.
reference the book. And that's when the judge was like, okay, let me read the text
And
and
now we
see,
know it was
what it's
Laura
like.
because who the fuck else is gonna be
Yes.
texting you about this book? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sitting on the stand and looking out at both my attorney and the cop. I can see the cop like down at the
Yeah.
end of the thing, and he's making eyes, and he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Hell
like he
yeah.
like he knew that once
Yeah.
the judge read the text, it was going
That
to be the
was
same as
it.
him because he
Yeah.
was swayed as soon as he read the
Right. Right.
text.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
So so she reads the text. It takes a minute because she reads a lot of them. My attorney had asked me to print out like 13 to 15 of like the worst of the
Right.
worst,
Right. Right. Right.
um,
All the
which
hits, all the
were
greatest hits. Yeah.
all the greatest hits,
Yeah.
which were her accusing my dad of molesting me, of
Jeez.
saying that she wanted
That's
my girlfriend to die, saying that she was going to come to our home and rip out pipes and insulation, and like a bunch of stuff like that.
the greatest hits. Those are
Really
the greatest
vile
hits.
thing.
Yeah,
Yep,
for
greatest
sure.
hits,
Yeah.
greatest hits.
Yeah.
And so as soon as she read as soon as the judge read the
Yeah.
text, I could also, again, with her, see an immediate
Yeah.
shift in
Totally. Yeah.
like, okay, this is some serious stuff.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole hearing, there's a lot of mumbling that Laura's doing underneath her breath. She's objecting to a lot of things that my attorney and then the judge is like, you can't object to that. That's not
Right. Oh
a thing that
wow.
you can do. So like she kept getting talked to by the
Yeah.
judge to be like,
Right.
you can't do that. That's not it. And
Yeah.
then a lot of things were decorum, like she would mumble under her breath or like say some sort of snide comment or something like that. And the judge
Uh-huh.
didn't like that.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um, so there was like
Wow.
a little bit more back and forth. And then that was when the judge was like, okay, I'm ready to make my ruling. And she
Yeah.
granted me the restraining order. Um,
Yay.
yeah, so it was really great. She isn't allowed to contact me via anyway. She's not allowed to contact me through any third
Wow.
parties either. So like she
Oh,
couldn't have
great. That's
her
amazing.
friend contact me. And the only thing that the judge didn't rule was that usually there's a like 100-yard space that you can't go
Yeah, right,
within
yeah.
100 yards or whatever. And Laura practically begged the judge to not allow that because she didn't want, if it, let's say I was going to go to like a pride event or something and she was going to be there, she didn't want there to be any sort of, legal
Potential, right, yeah, okay.
against her, which I didn't blame her for. I kind of understood
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because my thought is if I see her anywhere,
Yeah.
I'm out. Like I have no
Yeah,
desire to
totally.
run into
Right,
her.
yeah, yeah.
So I was fine with that. So she granted it. It's for the year. It's up next month. I have to
You better get that
redo
shit.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing, I was talking to my girlfriend about it recently, and she was saying, "Are you gonna renew it?" And I said, "Hell yeah," because one of the
Yeah.
other affidavits says that she had a restraining order against her that
Oh,
expired, and
no.
then like several years later got contacted out of the blue. So like I'm gonna have to renew this, I think, for a very long time, is
Oh,
my
dude,
guess.
just set it on your
The
calendar,
timer,
like
yeah,
every fucking year. I gotta
yeah,
renew the
yep,
restraining
gotta
order.
renew
Yeah.
it. Yep, gotta
Wow.
renew it.
Damn, that's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Holy
so
shit, man.
I wish that was the end of the story. We're coming close. So
Wow.
we get to the we get to the end of the hearing. She grants me the restraining order. It's clear that Laura's like pissed. She's like, whatever. I fucking knew that this was gonna be the case, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And we can leave the court after that happens. We're leaving the court, and the same thing happened, that where the cop that I was with said, we had, at that point I had filed charges against her as on
Yeah.
harassment, and
Uh-huh.
and the cop had a warrant from me and my charges
Whoa.
for harassment against her. So the plan was, again, after the
To arrest
hearing,
her. Yeah.
to arrest her. And the same thing happened, minus the call from 911. But
Wow.
she went crazy. She threw herself to the ground. She went even crazier than I can't even really fully describe how bonkers she went in the
Are you
courtroom.
looking at this person doing this thinking like, how did I get here? Like there has to be
100%.
a point where you're just like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
what the fuck?
Yes.
And it's just like it doesn't take much. Like you're just like anybody else. People let people in and then those people are not revealed to be who they are until they are, and then it's too late. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you gotta fucking get a restraining order. And then sometimes this happens. And it's like, what the fuck happened in my life? You know?
Yeah. That's
I
exactly
can
it.
totally picture myself in your shoes just being like, what am I doing here? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
how did
Like
I
it's
get
like,
here? How
yeah,
did I
yeah,
get
yeah,
here? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and up until this point, like, I had never had any
Yeah.
issues with the
It's
cops
yeah.
or, like,
Right, right, right.
anybody. I've had some friends come and go, or, had some bad breakups, but, like,
Yeah.
nothing even close could
Yeah.
compare to what this was like.
How crazy.
After what one of the things that she said in the court, which was hilarious, was that, she had filed a restraining order against me going to this court case because I was harassing her and so was my girlfriend. She had no other evidence for that. And in fact, when she filed the restraining order against her, it was denied. So it was not even you got to go to court to
Yeah.
figure this out kind of thing. They just flat
Yeah.
out denied it. After she got arrested again and freaked out again and had to have the ambulance come again and say that she was having a panic attack and needed to go to the ambulance, you need to go to the hospital
Yeah.
again. My attorney and I decided we would go back across the way to go to because she filed the restraining order against me in the
Mm,
relationship one.
mm.
So I went back across the street afterwards and was able to print out the denied affidavit that she
Ah,
wrote
right.
about me.
Yeah.
That was up until this point, I was like, I just don't understand where she's coming from. She's
Ah,
obviously crazy, but like I just don't get
you
where
saw her
this is
point
all
of view
coming
though?
from.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not that I saw her point of view, but I saw just how freaking delusional she really
Right.
was.
That's yeah, right, yeah.
She wrote so many things about are she called it asexual relationship in the affidavit, and wrote so many things that were just very clearly opinion about me and my
Mm-hmm.
identity,
Mm-hmm.
that if I'm a judge reading this, I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything. Like,
Right.
what do you even, what is this kind of thing?
People make
Um,
up whole versions of reality in their minds and they don't
and
question
that's
it
it.
because that is reality to them. It's not
Yeah,
like they're like, wait, was that really what happened? That just is what happened because it's
that's
how
it.
their brain works. Yeah.
That's exactly it. She made up an entire
Yeah.
relationship, an entire
Yeah.
scenario that I just mentally, I wasn't a part of, because I just didn't know that that was what was happening in her
Yeah.
brain and her mind.
Yeah.
And oh, in her brain, we were dating. We
Yeah.
were
Totally.
in a
Totally.
full-blown relationship. We just happened to be seeing other people
Right. Right. Right.
during that relationship. And it was kind of eye-opening to see that that was how she kind of saw the whole
Yeah.
situation. Because in my mind, she's just a new friend who I just met, very surface level. Like, we talked about some deep shit, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
I mean,
really was a true
there's a
eye
bright
opener.
red line between dating and not dating. You weren't dating this person. It's as simple as
Yeah,
that, you know?
yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
I'm absolutely obsessed with my girlfriend, and like, had been the entire time.
And
So for
she
her
knew
to
that.
even,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
knew
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
and it was just a very weird thing. So
I'll
I
say.
have not heard from her since then. I do know that because after you get granted a restraining order, you can, and after you file charges against someone, you can sign up to be notified by the court for like other court dates and
Right.
other rulings and things like that. And I know that she had been to court for the strangulation charge. She was also had two other harassment charges against her,
Oh,
not
wow.
from me.
Wow.
Um, and I think one of them was from the restraining order I mentioned that was filed like a couple months
Yeah.
before mine
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And so she had gone to court. I've checked it recently and there's nothing there. So
Mm.
I think she went to family court and
Yeah.
they
Right.
gave
Yeah.
her some sort of, like mental health treatment or some
Yeah.
sort of probation, and then that was it. So she didn't go to jail. She hasn't gone to jail. I don't know that I think I would want her to go to jail. I don't think that was the
Yeah.
solution.
Yeah. Of course not. Yeah.
I just think the solution would have been for her to go to some sort of mental health facility and
Totally.
like
Yeah.
figure out her life.
Yeah. Totally.
Because I definitely think she has some sort of either addiction to relationships
Oh yeah.
or
Some kind of thing. She needs treatment. She needs
yeah.
help. That's as
Yeah.
simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Wow.
then since
Wow.
then, I found out too that she's now living with a new girl, and
Uh-oh.
has a new girlfriend, and I think about them
Oh yeah. That person's fucked.
every day.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
person's fucked. Yeah.
I really
Ugh.
worry about that girl, and I like to hope that Laura is like, maybe she's a completely different person now. I know that that's like not
No.
probably the case,
Yeah.
but like
No.
I hope for her new girlfriend's sake that she's
Ay, ay,
got it
ay.
together
Ay,
and
ay,
that they're
ay.
okay.
Well, I'm happy you're fucking safe, sound, happy, and completely extricated from this entire situation. That is a fucking true nightmare.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, wow,
It
dude.
changed my whole life for the whole past year. I've been going to
Yeah,
therapy. I've been
yeah,
dealing with, yeah, how this affects me. Meeting new people now
yeah.
seems
Oh, yeah.
terrifying. I
Totally,
can't
yeah.
connect with people the same way that I used to be able to.
Totally.
I used to joke with my friends back in the day that like I'm the kind of friend that you make and you put in your wedding party, because like I become like such good friends with you, but I don't think that I'm that same person anymore because
It's
I'm just
okay. You'll be in
so
enough wedding
closed off.
parties. You got
Yeah,
enough
I'm sure.
friends. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Thank you so much, Tess. This was fucking crazy, incredible. Like I said, I'm happy you're here, you're sane, and that is over with. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing this story with us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Tess. All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks. Okay. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.